So happy to be back at Davis Diamond. Obviously this weekend we had a mixed bag of results, but I'm actually excited to get going. I think I have a good idea of what we need to work on, and like I said, I think it's time for us to get back, be able to practice a little bit and get things going. But we'll have a full slate ahead of us this weekend, starting here on Thursday against Houston. And I'm looking forward to us, getting back to playing our kind of ball.
Okay, last time we did talk to you, you said that you had judged California by, did you correct some of the things from Florida? So my question would be, what were you able to possibly move forward? What didn't you move forward? And were there some new pluses or minuses?
Yeah, I think there was like a lot of weird situations. We were playing on some very interesting fields, we'll say, and we made some very uncharacteristic errors, and I think things just spiraled. So I don't think we've done a good job of stopping the spiral, when things have happened. We haven't found the stop, I think there's some things that I could do differently, which obviously I will adjust accordingly, but I think, we're kind of past our really, really tough part of our season, and we talked about that last week, that at no other point of our season will we play this type of ball in such a short amount of time. So I think we're a little bit better equipped to play the college game, where we have, 3 to 4 games a weekend, and I probably extended pitchers too long than they needed to. So there's some things that definitely fall on my plate that we'll get better at. But I think overall, we just have to regroup. This team really likes each other, and they work hard for each other. So I think, we still have a long ways to go. But we also talked about that at the beginning of the year, is that it's going to take us some time to kind of put all the pieces together. And I still feel like we're in, we still have to put some pieces together.
How do you feel like the youngsters kind of responded to some of the adversity faced over the weekend?
In parts of it, really good, and parts of it, not so good. So I felt like if you would have told me we got Tinsley knocked out of the game in a half of an inning against UCLA, I'm like, absolutely. Like, I thought we did some things really good there, and Paisley put down a great bunt. Frankie hit her in. Frankie was great all weekend long. But then we didn't execute some things on the pitching side. And so I think we haven't put a game together where I felt like all pieces were rolling. The Nebraska game, we made some defensive miscues that really cost us, and then we come out against LMU and pitch a gem, and so I think it's just getting us to all do it together. But I think overall, like offensively, there's been some really good fight. We put up 5 runs, like I said, against UCLA, but I feel like you saw at the beginning of this weekend, things were good. Meaning we lost against Oregon, but it was a good ball game. We didn't get a hit when we needed to get a hit. We pitched well, blah, 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 blah. But as the weekend wore on, I feel like you saw our exhaustion come out, and we didn't dig deep enough to be able to execute at a high level that we needed to face that type of competition.
And I'm curious, with Taylor Cannell in specific, just kind of finding her role as she goes. So do you like using her towards, beginning of games? I know she's closed a lot. Just what about where she's at?
Yeah, her and I talked a little bit this weekend about that in specifically. But I think, she's going to be somebody that we can use in the middle, we can use at the end, and we're still working through the beginning of games. I think right now we just got to get her arm action a little cleaned up. She's a little wonky right now. She feels it. And so I think, again, we haven't had a bullpen in 10 days, so just some of those pieces are going to be nice, that we'll have 2 days of practice and be able to kind of adjust and work on some of those pieces.
How frustrating is the ranked losses thing at this point? There's been in so many of them, and how do you guys sort of try and push past that, I'm assuming, discouragement?
Yeah. So they're frustrating only to the fact that we were in every single one of them except for the last 2, but for me, I don't know, those are just great opportunities. So frustrated maybe, but also we faced 6 All-Americans in the last 2 weekends in the circle. And so I keep saying this, and I hope it does come to fruition, but that's going to help us for conference play. There's not going to be an arm that we feel like we haven't seen. We're overmatched. There won't be an arm in postseason in which we feel like, we haven't seen, we're overmatched. And so I think there's a lot of good that comes from getting your teeth knocked in a little bit at the beginning of the year. So I don't know. I said this last week too. I'm a glass half full person. So like, as long as we're learning from these and some of the situations I feel like we're getting better about it, but some of the situations we still need to address. So we just got to keep moving. Like, that's life. I was reading, you're on, I think it's the Duke women's basketball coach. She said something to the fact, Kara, right? Lawson. Yeah. She said, you don't get to choose the length of your adversity. And I feel like that's kind of where we're at right now. Like, when it comes to ranked teams, we haven't gotten the W. We've been in, most of those games though. And so we just got to punch through that wall.
That's a great quote. So looking ahead to this weekend, obviously, like, on paper, I think us non-professionals see a lot of W's, but like, what do they need to do in order to feel like this is a successful weekend? Because I'm sure it's going to be more than just winning.
Yeah, I think just going back to playing Aggie softball, so clean defense, I think we for sure have to clean that up, and that's been an issue, I think, all year, that going back to your point, Cease, of some things that I said we need to clean up and we probably haven't. I think that's an area that we need to address, continuing to address. But I think, I made this funny statement, I think, on air in one of our Clearwater games, because I got a lot of text messages about it, of like, it's not rocket science, but like, pound the zone. Like, when we're pitching, work ahead and spread. It's not rocket science. So I think that's going to be our biggest thing, of just being able to work ahead. When you're 2-0 against top level hitters, like, they come out of their shoes and it's a game of momentum. And when you give them an inch, they're going to take a mile. And so, unfortunately, we've been on the wrong side of that. And so that's really going to be my message. I think in the box, we've done some really good things. We've fought, we've battled. But I think those are probably the two areas that we really have to hit hard.
KP was just talking about how she, someone that people gravitate towards, and it's not actually something she's really had to work at, but she's just kind of a natural leader. From your standpoint, just what kind of player is she in person?
KP's, when she smiles, she lights up a room. And I always tell her, like, you have this gift. She's really, I feel like this year, grown into her leadership role. She understands how to communicate to certain people and how not to communicate to others. Like, she knows how to rally people. She's mature. But I think the thing that you can never question about KP is that she competes. She wants to win. At no point in time is she not given everything she has on that field. And so I think when the lights go on, KP shines. And so I think, our youngsters have to see that, and she's just been an integral part of teaching them what that looks like to compete every single day.
What about, we talked before the season, how important you like the number 9 and number 1. But Frankie's had an unbelievable start. So, and then you consider what Powell's done. How about that 1-2 punch? Yeah,
I always say in my system, the number 9 hitter is your silent assassin. Like, I think it's been huge. I think, Frankie is just, that's kind of how Frankie is. Like, if you talk to her, she's kind of a quiet kid, and she just goes out and does her business. And really, she's just trying to get herself on. She understands her role, and I think that's really important, that she knows that she's there to turn the lineup over. She's had some big hits, some RBIs this weekend, but I think she's really embraced that position.
I know you're a tinker, and I think I followed your team pretty close, but I was kind of surprised when I studied stats after it was over that Lessentine has made so many more starts than Peters, but yet when you look at the innings. So my question is that the way maybe you're going forward? You might start Lessentine a little bit more, you bring Peters in, or you still got some more tinkering to do?
I think I have some tinkering, but probably trending in some of that direction. Yeah, so Lessentine, she has the ability to throw a whole game with up stuff, and she has the ability to throw a whole game with her down stuff. We just haven't been able to execute that at a high rate, and so that's where I'm still kind of tinkering, of getting her to be able, she's a sophomore, and just, you understand this level, but not until you understand this level. And last year we had Emily Kennedy, just being honest, and I think, learning how to be that pitcher, I think you start to live it and you understand what it's like, and she can handle it. I think she's just still trying to maneuver her way through that.
You're kind of surprised at the home run numbers?
Yes.
Just wondered.
Yeah, yeah,
And I know you'll take care of that, right?
yes.
You excited to play your alma mater this weekend?
Yeah, I keep forgetting. Yeah, they were actually at Mary Nutter, and I was like, oh shoot, yeah. So God is a Gale, yes. Yeah, I think it'll be good to see St. Mary's here, and I appreciate them coming all the way out here. I think it means a lot to me for them to come out, and we get to show off Davis Diamond, and that's where I got my coaching career started as well. So. At like 22, I think I was an assistant coach, and yeah.
Did you play when you were at Arizona State?
Oh, I don't think we did.
Was this your first time at Fresno State?
Well, we did. We had to have. Maybe it was at Fresno. Fresno, we played. We played at St. Mary's. Yeah.
This one.
Yeah. I took him to my favorite sandwich shop up there. It's called Bianca's. So shout out to Bianca's in Moraga. Yeah.
So you get a free one next time. You're like,
Yeah.
good.
Oh, Bill still knows me. Yes, I'm. Yeah, my turkey and cranberry sandwich. Yeah.
Very good.